I was like, I couldn't let that one. I couldn't let that live. I had to
Um,
unlist that live. I was like, yeah, we can't play that
yes,
one.
happens sometimes, man. Sometimes it's just like it just flows, bro. It's like
Yeah,
breathing. You're like,
yeah,
oh, this,
exactly.
that. You're like, I had that. I had that problem when I was stationed in England, man. Fortunately, well, hi.
Hello.
Uh, oh, okay. I've never used. I've never done this before. I've used StreamYard once, but I never done this before. And the people I see that usually uses it, they make it seem so damn interesting, like easy to. But I mean, it was easy. I didn't know how to do it. So
So essentially, it's like, oh yeah, click, press use, and here you are. Oh,
So I just want to introduce our very special guest today. This is my brother, Michael Marquez. He is a 20 year. How many years you been in, bro?
going on 25.
25-year Air Force veteran. And we just wanted to. I just wanted to do this collab with him and Lexi because we were having a conversation not too long ago. We were talking about like where we were from and you know, the things that we saw and we had to deal with growing up. And we happened to see a video. I sent a video. I saw a YouTube video and I sent it to him, and it had our old area that we used to grow up that we grew up in. We grew up in the Mott Haven area of the South Bronx. And if you've never heard of that before, um it's probably one of the worst areas in the entire city. And New York City is pretty big. So and we grew up during the crack epidemic in the 80s and the 90s. And so I thought it was really interesting. And I just wanted to share some of the things that we saw and that we went through, because we each individually have had this conversation with other people, and to include Lexi. And like the shock is like, wow, really? Like, yeah, that's what y'all went through. And I was telling Lexi that I was telling you that when we were kids, Mike, like we always heard, "Don't go to Brooklyn." Like
Yeah,
that was the
Brooklyn was
thing.
the
Like,
hot spot.
yeah, Brooklyn was like,
BK, don't go there. It's
he's
like,
like,
oh,
you don't want to go to Brooklyn, dude. Like Brooklyn is dangerous.
it's
It was not.
grimy out there.
It was not.
I mean, I'm sure for you it wasn't because you were from Brooklyn, but we weren't from Brooklyn.
Yeah, but I look back now at the things that were happening around that time, and I will have to say that the Bronx was out of control.
It
But
really
like
was.
this, yeah, yeah. For me, knowing how it was in the Bronx, and then people telling you not to go to Brooklyn. I mean, it just seemed height. It seemed heightened. It was like, oh well, if this is bad, then PK is way worse. Like,
And
I,
that's how
um,
we were told, like, don't go to the Bronx. You're from Brooklyn. You don't belong in the Bronx. Like, stay your behind where you belong in BK. Um, but now I look back at it and I see things like we were looking at that video and, watching the history. And we were both, I was like, oh, that's what y'all were doing in the Bronx? No wonder they told me to stay my ass out of there.
but it's crazy because at one point, you remember Lawrence? At one
yeah,
point, our mom was dating a dude that lived in Brooklyn, and we went to Brooklyn to go see him. And I was like, I remember thinking, like, why are we here, bro? Like, why? I don't understand. Like, this is not for us. Like, we need to be like,
like let's go back home
yeah, like,
immediately.
let's go back home. What are we doing here? It was crazy, but just some of the things that we saw, like I was telling actually we had the roof man. Remember the roof man?
Yeah, that's various roof men, but yeah.
Oh, there was more than one. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, that went on because it went on for a while. Like it wasn't like a isolated thing. It was just it was multiple occasions because you mess around and try to go to the roof and you automatically saw some when you hit that landing. It was like eh, uh, run downstairs. You're like, nope, I'm locking the door. They ain't finna get me. I'm good.
It was it was. Now, let me say that at least the entire time that I was there, like they never bothered any of us, and us kids used to play in the landing where you wait for the elevators, and they never did anything. That like they never like there wasn't even so
but
much.
you didn't know them, so
Yeah, where we didn't know, so it was scary. But they never did anything. But I don't. Our apartment door was right in front, like this, of the staircase door, so you could open the door, and that staircase door had a window. So many times I've come like out the door, and you see him going up or down or whatever, and it give me goosebumps just thinking about it.
Yeah,
It was creepy. We used to call him the roof man. Like,
Yeah.
I lived in an apartment building, so I didn't have those kind of
I mean, I thought we lived in apartment buildings. It varies in locations, to be honest. Like from what I've seen, they'd be like, "Oh no, I live in like between that or like individuals being like, oh no, I live in the projects and various travels." I'm like, "Oh, this is the projects. It's like like a little 2-story joint. I'm used to like at bare minimum 6 stories to like 21 stories." I'm like, "Oh, okay, I
dude,
guess it's I don't know."
I dated somebody when I was when I was living in Greenville. She lived in she lived in the project. Hey JJ, and she lived in the project. These were houses. They were like duplexes, bro.
Yeah,
I was like, what? I was like, these are. I mean, they look like project houses.
Ones in Goldsboro were like that. It was
oh yeah, and the ones in Goldsboro, yeah,
condos.
Yeah, it was crazy. What's up, JJ? My brother Mike, JJ, Mike, JJ.
JJ.
What up, JJ? I
So
can't.
yeah.
I don't know. I can't see nothing. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but
Oh, you can't see the comments?
I don't see nothing but you and me.
Oh, I don't know how to.
Let's see.
Anyway, all right.
Comments.
I'll relay the messages.
Yeah.
On your side.
And JJ says it's Jenny from the block night. And laugh out loud. he said, "What's up, Mike?"
What up?
But so yeah, like we were going up. We moved to the projects. I turned 5. We moved into that apartment in January 15th, whatever year I turned 5. I think it was 80.
I was 1, so we're talking like 84.
Okay, so yeah, 84.
It's easier that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it was 84. We turned. So literally, Mike spent his entire childhood in that apartment, and then dude, it was like during the crack epidemic. Like you would take the stairs, and they'd be like you would literally be stepping on like crack vials. Like as you go down, it was like crunch, crunch, and then sometimes you see a syringe laying there, or like if you decided to take the elevator, it'd be like a puddle of piss, and there'd be a syringe in the
It's a borough chat night.
Yeah, we're just JJ, we're just talking about how it was growing up in the South Bronx, in the Mott Haven section of the South Bronx, because we saw a video. And it was like the 10 creepiest places in New York City, and our area that we grew up in was like number 3.
That's bad.
So feel free to chime in and share your experiences where you grew up and stuff. But
it's interesting because it's like there's so much to say based on memory, and then as things are spoken, it's like it'll hit you. Like, man, I remember that, because I remember. I mean, you can go outside, and it's not like the sidewalks were like nicely paved or anything like that, and it was broken up, and you see crack bottles everywhere around the schoolyard. You could find needle wherever, and it was like
he's on a.
the things you suppress without necessarily trying to suppress. And it just comes back to memory is pretty insane.
Yeah, I don't remember. I guess I blocked out a lot of things because there's so many times that like you'll ask me like did you remember that, or do you remember this person or whatever, and I'm like, Nah, I don't. I don't remember. Like some dude that was on my Facebook, he was like, "You used to." He was in your class, so you. He was in, and I'm like, I don't remember this dude from a hole in the wall. Like,
You're like, how you remember?
I'm like,
There's one person to this day. I throw out the name and you'd be like, I don't know how you remember that. I barely remember that. And it was just because of the name. Like I remember looking through like yearbooks and it was a girl. It was a girl. If
what was
you
the name?
remember. Tamika Mungo.
Oh, I remember
Just because
her.
of the name.
I
I
remember
was
her. Yeah,
like,
because of the name.
yeah,
I
I was like, oh, Tamika Mungo. She showed up on
because
my Facebook one time.
because of because of this dude, and then like there was like, and then there was another guy that I went to school with. Uh his name was Michael too, and he friend requested me, and he was friends with a bunch of these people. So like Tamika and another girl that I went to school with named Joy, a young lady that I went to school with named like a bunch of them like started popping up or whatever. They weren't
Yeah.
nice to me when I was a kid. So I was like, I'm not sending friend requests for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
But JJ says I'm a DC native. Uh, I bet in DC you probably
DC
saw a
rough
bunch.
too.
Yeah, I bet you saw a bunch of crap in
Yeah.
DC.
DC, pretty wild.
Yeah, I've heard stories about DC. DC was pretty crazy. And to think that that's like the home of the government, that it could
The
be so wild.
nation's capital.
Yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah,
But
it's
I
different.
remember being in PS 18 and somebody like I'm I remember like somebody asked me like I mentioned something about like climbing a fence, and he was like the dude was like, you used to climb fences, and I'm like, well, not on. I was like, not like deliberately, but we would be playing in the yard, and somebody would walk by and let their dog loose, their pit bull in the schoolyard, and
You
like
just run, hop on it.
you
You
just
straight
yeah,
dive.
he just be running. That ever happened to you at PS 18?
Nah, not there. I never did it for a dog. It was more like racing up it, stuff like that. Like, who can get up quicker, those type things. But there's a bunch of stuff like it was like conversation. So if you remember in 18 where they had the swings and the only two slides they had in the back.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then
Oh, in the left hand corner over there by the full court.
yeah. And then you were saying like flipping off the swing, stuff like that. Like, I mean, I ain't never did it, but I mean those are the type of things,
We
you
we used
again,
to do it
I'll wait
before.
till we dive into it, but yeah.
No, by all means, share.
Nah, it's just stuff like you'll see. So, for example, like that video, and in various movies like the show I mentioned for you
I
to
see you,
watch,
JJ. I'm gonna answer you in a second.
um, like when they would have the mattresses outside, like people would just bringing mattresses and kids doing flips off of them, those type of deals. Like I remember stuff like that. Like it's crazy. Like it was fun then, but thinking back now, I'm like, man, it was like shambles, bro. It
You
looked like a war zone.
you think you could do a flip now?
Without hurting myself? No, absolutely not.
JJ wants to know if we had five. Yeah, Lexi said if we flipped, it wouldn't be on purpose. JJ
No.
wants to know if we had fire hydrant water parties in the Bronx. Hell yeah, dude! Like
Yeah, absolutely.
that was like
Absolutely.
until they put those little
They put the caps over the front of them.
yeah, I remember, dude. I don't know how many times like I wasted a perfectly good can of beans from my
Oh
mom.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Cut.
I would be like, "Oh, I need this," and I would just can open it and throw. I would throw the beans. We lived on a 13th floor. I would throw the beans out the window so that she wouldn't come home and see beans in the garbage.
Just wild, bro.
And
What
we would
but even with that, like you had to have the right can
right.
because the top one will be normal for can opener and the bottom will be rounded. So like you couldn't necessarily like clip onto it and spin it around. So it'd be like, man, like Couldn't
There
do
was
nothing,
only
but yeah,
certain cans. I think the Goya cans were like that, were
yeah,
had it so where you can do it. But it was a fight just to be able to operate it. Like some kids be hogging the whole damn thing. But that was
yeah.
fire.
I don't remember ever like controlling the flow of it. I just you would have vehicles ride by, and then if you remember that building right by the pump outside 18, that building was in shambles. Like for a long time, it had scaffolding. Like there was like a fire or something there,
Oh, I don't remember
and
that.
so what was this dude's name? Not Charlie. What was his name? Hispanic dude. I remember because we got a picture. I don't know. We'll probably have to talk offline, but I remember. So essentially, a dude that mom was dating, he had like a white, I think like
David.
yeah, he
I
had
think his name was
like a
David.
station wagon or
He was
something.
like he was
And
like
he
affiliated with cabs or something like that.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And then like he had parked like almost across from the pump, and like part of the building like fell on his car or something like that.
That was in our area. Oh, I thought that was like where he lived.
Nah, that was so it's weird because in our neighborhood you had certain blocks that would like I wouldn't necessarily say segregated intentionally, but like where the store was at was
You
like
had
you
the
had the
Mexican
Dominican,
bar.
yeah, you had the Mexican block, and then yeah, it was so that's the where the store was at where it met. So it would go one way, and then you would go up, and then yeah, you'd head up towards Melrose.
Uh-huh.
And then instead, if you didn't go left, you went up to the store. That in that point right there, that fork, where he was parked at, and the building had fell. Like not the whole
I remember the
building, but
building. I remember I remember that. I didn't know that was in our area.
yeah,
Uh JJ, so I'll answer your questions real quick. So JJ, our high school, my brother and I went to the same high school. And our mascot was a panther, I think, right? Panther.
yeah,
And
it's
then
Panthers.
yes, downstairs was a mess. Now I want to say that so my brother was again he was a child, like a small kid, and while we were growing up in this apartment, and like the when he was younger, he used to throw a bunch of shit out the window. And one day I was walking with our pops, and I don't know what made us go like underneath, like up to the building in the grass,
Yeah,
and we like saw a bunch of shit he threw I mean, it was like random. It was like a toy, one slipper, a spoon. It was just random shit that was out there. But yeah, we every time my mom made something that we didn't like, we would dump food out the window. So it was it was a mess. And yeah, it was not a mattress, but it was a hey Tori, it was a it was segregated. Like my brother was saying, like you come out.
Hello.
So you had the projects on one side, and then if you followed the block, so our block came down and went around like this. And so like the blacks and the Puerto Ricans were in the projects. There was some Hondurans in the projects, but if you went past the church and down a block, there was nothing. Nobody lived on this block but Mexicans. There was nothing but Mexicans on this block. And then if you went up a block further, it went down that block. It was nothing but Dominicans on that block. So literally, I guess we were segregated like that. So
Intentionally.
yeah.
As JJ said.
So it was wild. Yeah, it was segregated like that. Everybody like that's just and that Mexican block. Like I remember, I don't know how true it was, but everybody was related on that block.
yeah, I know family there. So Pucho's cousins were there.
Yeah,
I remember because I went to school with their youngest sister Rebecca.
I think I remember Rebecca.
Mhm.
I remember Pucho. I remember Nelson. I know. I know. I saw. Tori said, "Cheer up, Buttercup." I didn't know who she was talking to though.
Probably Michael.
But
I feel cheery.
but yeah, it was segregated like that, and they never really hung out with us. But that I know that block where the Mexicans live was like that place was crazy, man. That block was. I remember going to school went to school with one of the guys that lived there.
That's why Michael can't see the comments.
Oh,
No.
he can't see the. Oh, yeah. I don't know how to fix that.
Can you put the live on your phone, Mike? And then
Yeah, I'm about to do that right now.
just so we can.
Yeah, I don't know how to. I don't
can
know how to
share
do
it.
that. Yeah.
Like I'm in that StreamYard app. All right, hold up.
But it was I went to school with one of them with one of those guys
I'm
that lived on the
cheery.
block. His name was Douglas. And one day
Dog, man, I remember. Yeah, I remember who that is.
that one day I heard that he was into drugs, and he was arguing with himself one day and blew himself away. At least that's the story I heard. It was just crazy. Like it was so crazy, like that we grew up with so many people that didn't make it. Like that we heard. Remember Kev Dog? Remember Kevin?
Yeah, I know Kevin. Yeah, I remember what happened. Yeah.
Like I was already in Texas when I heard Jujo told me. He was like, "Yo, you remember?" And I was like, "Yeah." Like, and he was like, "Yo, yeah." Like somebody ran up in his house, and I was like, "Damn."
Kev got into an argument that turned into a fight, and then it was like a chase to like the other side.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was just like a shootout. Like they started shooting. It wasn't like a in the house type deal. Like
Oh,
that's also like from a news article as well. Like it's in the news article.
oh, I always heard that he like somebody ran up in his house and got him in his living room. God damn. Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like I remember, like I don't know how many times. I remember one day we were playing outside, and we were just throwing the football around, and all of a sudden some dudes rolled up on us, and one of them I went to school with, and they threw the ball on top of the school roof, and then like literally started messing with us, trying to jump us, and I had to like, and again, my brother was, he was 4 years younger than me, and I mean, at this age that we are now, 4 years is not a big deal, but when you're kids,
now he protects you.
yeah, now he protects me because I'm older. But as a kid, I couldn't, I was worried about his safety, and we would. And I remember telling him I'm like, run, dude, like take off
Yeah.
running.
We ran to the back of the building, where you could lock the back door.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we weren't. That wasn't happening.
Oh man.
Yeah, I remember all of it.
This was. I mean, it was almost like every day. Like you would play softball, and if you won or whatever, like it would start a fight. Handball would start a fight. Basketball would start a fight. Like it was crazy. Like you couldn't. I remember. I don't know where in the Bronx this happened. I remember that some dude got crossed up playing basketball, and the dude that got crossed up was pissed off and went and got his pew pew and shot the dude on the court for crossing him up. It was literally the wild wild west, and you didn't realize it because like this was normal to us. Like we didn't know. You tell these stories now, and you hear these things now, and you're like, and people are like, "Yo, it's really like that?" And we're like, "Yeah, like that's how life was. Like every day. One day you wake up and just somebody's not here anymore, and you're like, oh, it's crazy. That was crazy." But yeah, getting jumped in the elevator, or like we had beef with some guys. I don't even remember how this thing started, but we had some beef with these guys that we couldn't even go to the store without getting into a fight. Chased on foot. Yeah, we got chased. Yeah, on foot. Yeah, we got chased on, and all we were doing was playing outside. Like we didn't even like. I knew one of them. I went to school with one of them, and it's not like we were cool or anything. He was just somebody in my class. You know. What else do you remember about that time? St. Rita's.
I mean, there's a lot, but I don't know if we're going into like specific like dialogue or specific questions versus just speaking random things I remember.
You
I
can
mean,
share what you remember. Just try to keep it clean. So let me answer this question real quick. So JJ, so here's how it was, right? So the area we grew up was called the Mott Haven area, and in this area, you had a set of projects where we grew up. It was called Patterson Project, and that was on one side of the street. And then, literally on the right across the street, was another set of projects called Mott Haven Projects. And then, not in the immediate area, but fairly close. If you walk down the block to the right, there was another set of projects. And then if you walk down the same block, but in the opposite direction, there was another set of projects. And you know how men are, man. Like, everything becomes a territory. Everything is like, our guys are better than your guys and this and that. And so, yeah, it's like sometimes, like I said, you would just be like you just be playing ball and they would come over, let's get a softball game going. And there'd be a call that somebody disagrees with, or if you won or something, and that would literally, somebody would get mad and they would start a fight.
Or you made them look like,
or you made them look bad, right? Or you made them look bad because they were out there with their girlfriends or something like that, and it would start a fight. So when you put so many, growing up, if you've never been to New York City, I don't know what Maryland looks like, but if you've never been to New York City, like these projects, like my brother was saying, like these projects, the smallest buildings we had around were 6 stories. We grew up in a 13-story, and most of them were 13 stories. And these buildings were only feet apart. And you figure 13 stories, we have from A to H. That's what, eight apartments, A to H. So you figured there was 8 apartments on each floor. How many families is that? And then how many kids and stuff like that? So yeah, like it was always some type of competition or something that was going on, or it was always something. And it usually stemmed from like somebody looking bad or getting embarrassed or whatever. And now, you get into a fight, you kick his ass. Now they're embarrassed, so they keep messing with you because of that. But if you don't fight, or if you lose the fight, now you a punk, and they keep messing you because of that. So it was just a constant.
all of it is a lose-lose situation. Is you win, they come back, try to jump you, or they'll prolong it, or every other time they see you, they want to do, they're trying to fight. And if you don't do anything and walk away, it's they're gonna continue. So either you fight, win, and get jumped, or whatever the case is, or constantly look over your shoulder, or you avoid it. And now they're sitting here picking on you until you do something.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot to remember. I mean, with so many years there, like there's a lot of stories, a lot of different variables. But I mean, going downstairs, or like going to get Chinese food, something like that, where you go to a specific store, the one we had, if, for example, mama be like, hey, grab this, get that. All right, cool. Well, I gotta walk by the one building. These dudes were sitting here ready to jump me every time they saw me. So either I have to sit here and tiptoe to make sure they're not there, and if they're there, then what do I do? How long am I outside for until they leave, or find another store? The one time I found another store, I went upstairs, gave it to mom. Mom was clearly noticing it was not from the same store. Why didn't you go to this store? And again, like it's not like she's deep diving into who's there or whatever the case is. She just like, hey, go to the store. So now I'm sitting here, what? I can't just return food. Um Now I'm in trouble for that. Cutting across a building, cutting across a roof for the smaller buildings, the 6-story buildings. Majority of them connected to a building that was on the other side, so you can go up to the roof and cut across and come down the other building. And again, there's been many a times you get caught up, or you sit here try to act tough and get caught at Third Ave on the hub, and people will say whatever they want to you. And if you want to sound tough, cool. I mean, I've done it a couple times. I'm like, they'll say whatever, and I'm like, yeah, all right, blah blah blah, talk that smack, and only because I knew I was right at the corner, I'm like, yeah, all right. Now I hit the corner, and just beeline, like, trying not to get jumped. Like, now look, like peek around the edge, to be like, all right, they don't know where I went. Like, cool. I mean, that you end up in the elevator with somebody you got beef with, or somebody set you up like that. I mean, I've been jumped more times than I've had fair ones. You had the back on the back of our building, you had the little baby park right there.
Yeah.
I got jumped there. I jumped on the other side. I get jumped coming from school. I mean, a lot of, like, if we're specific to like ongoing, like a ongoing beef, it will be Eddie and Edwin. I mean,
Yeah.
really. And that was, I mean, that continued while you were gone. So
They
I
were
mean,
these guys were the story I remember was that like they were adopted and they just had a really shitty outlook, and then they were somehow some kin or friends with a set of twins that were into some real messed up shit. Like these were kids that they didn't have anything to lose. Like they were just, and they had problems with a lot of people. It wasn't just us. Like I mean, Juju and Ouija had problems with them. I mean, it was crazy. But JJ wants to know, Mike, were there any good memories growing up in the area?
uh, I would say that, I mean, honestly, I would say there weren't. There's probably more bad than good, but
Yeah.
um, good. I'd say probably like playing manhunt, stuff like that. Um,
No violence.
Yeah, David, there was no violence. Which wasn't
Look, I already had a bad manhunt memory with you.
really what happened.
Uh, I don't necessarily know if this is the forum for it, but
Oh, okay.
um, yeah. I mean, at the time, again, we've already identified, like, you were younger, you were a little bit more mad. I'm not sure what had happened, but like for example, like Philly, Peanut, them, um, we were playing manhunt. They're my friends as well as your friends, but I knew Philly since kindergarten.
Uh,
And you had said something to them, like you were trying to like get me, like you were mad about something, and you were trying to, like, I think, like either like get me home or like confront me, whatever the case is, and you had them like chase me down. So I'm like running from my friends because you were mad about something. So like if you remember, if you come out of our building, you make a
uh,
left, you had so what is that, 318, 308, the next building, and then you
308.
had the benches.
Uh-huh.
But we had that parking lot between our building.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
I was coming from that side. of the parking lot, and you were like closer to like St. Rita's, and I was running, and I remember you running up the other side and like looking over and seeing you running, like essentially you was probably gonna hit me or something. Like I don't know. Like
Um,
essentially that's what it was.
but I was
You weren't nice.
I wasn't nice. I was looking back at it now. I didn't know. Obviously, I didn't know this then. But looking back at it now, like I was going through a lot, and my brother at the time was the only one inferior to me because he was smaller
He was
and,
younger.
and he was younger and stuff. So so I
Tori said that was Oscar.
it was Oscar, yeah. So I was going through a lot of stuff, and what my brother Mike and I really, I mean, we were always close, but like we didn't really like gain the relationship that we have now until like he was much older, and at that point he was bigger than me,
You didn't have a choice.
and I didn't have a choice. But um, we went through a lot separately, and 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 together. And for me, like I think he got more reserved and focused, and I took like I had like the anger. Like I was very angry. I was very like explosive, and there was a lot, like I said, there was a lot that I was going through that again I didn't understand it at the time because it felt it felt normal. Like it felt like this was normal life. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be this thing with siblings. I mean, it's very rare that there are no confrontations or um contention, so to speak. It happens. You grow up. I mean, you move through it. Um, I mean, I'm not, I'm not resentful. Um, it's all part of my It's all part of our history. So it is what it is at this point in life. I mean, I've never sat there and been like, oh, these things happen. Like I'm gonna hold them against you. But again, we're young. There's a lot going on in the area, so it's like, um, you're sitting here. I wouldn't necessarily say trying to survive, but trying to survive. Like you're just day to day doing what you do. That kept you occupied, and you went upstairs. So it's not oblivious that things are happening around you because you see, you hear, you get the wow, like I can't believe that happened, or man, that's crazy, this and that. And then it was almost at a point where it happened so frequently, you're like, you would go through those same reactions, and then the next day was just another day. Uh,
well, my Tori says that her and Lito used to fist fight, and argue daily, so she understands. She says that's
yeah,
simple.
that's why that's my apologies. That's what I was commenting to with
Oh,
like that happens, and you're bound to have like issues or arguments here and there or whatever, however it ends up escalating. But I mean, you grow up, you move on. I don't necessarily think it's something um to stop your relationship with your sibling. Like I don't hold it against you unless you throw it in my face, then I'm gonna talk shit, but whatever. But
did you
yeah, I
sound
mean,
just?
there's a lot to it, but like I said, I don't know if you had any like specific things you wanted to get into, but
I mean, you could, like I said, share what you feel like sharing. Just keep it clean
yeah, I mean,
for the sponsors for the ads. But yeah, like this is what this is about because going through that, whether we went through together was good or we went through together was bad. Like it was, a lot of it had to do with the environment that we were in, the situations that we were in, and stuff. And we just coped differently, based on the things that we were going. And no, like I've said this to you many times. Like I know that, I was an asshole brother to you for many years growing up because, like I said, I didn't know this at the time, but I was going through a lot of stuff that I really couldn't explain, and you just happened to be the one there, which was not fair to you and stuff like that. But what we go through and the area that we were in, shaped who we are and what we going through and our experiences and stuff like that. But um, that's what led us. That's what led us here. You know.
Yeah. So I could say, let's see. I think, I won't even mention. Probably my earliest memory there was the day we moved in, which is weird because I is very vague. I just remember being outside the door and the lady who let us in. Um, that was it. But I mean, school was school for the. Hey, we went to all the same schools. Um, good. That's good and bad. Like teachers knew who you were. Um, which is wild because it's like teachers loved you, like, oh, like Carlos, blah blah blah. And you like, but then it was different with mom, like, oh, you following your brother's footsteps. So I'm like, okay, so he was this great kid. We got into trouble different ways. You got into troubles that didn't get you kicked out of school or suspended, and here I am, elementary alone. I was suspended like 6 times. I've been suspended in every elementary, intermediate, high school, lot of random things. Uh,
Um,
you know,
Corey,
go
I was I was 2 weeks from being five,
yeah, I
and
was I was like
Mike was
one.
one. Yeah, Mike was one. So we moved into the project. That apartment we moved into January 15th, 84, and then on the 30th I turned five, and Michael turned one.
Yeah, well, I think high school. I think high school was the only. Well, I want to say I think high school was the only one that I necessarily had a choice on. Which school I can go to. Like you would apply for said schools, and based on whatever I wanted to go to Bertram. Thank you.
So did I. Well, I was asked to go to Bertram, and I didn't want to go.
Yeah, like I think we could list like 6 schools, and tell yeah, the only I think the only 2 schools that was like even down to take me was, which is wild. I felt like I did good in school. I was a class clown, but I got good grades. Like I don't understand. It was South Bronx and Gompers,
Tori,
and I just
don't sound like you a goody two shoe, Miss Gangster. I heard that
yeah
story.
yeah seriously. So yeah, okay. Then you end up going to a worse school than I think Gompers was.
Yeah.
Oh, Steve-O, like
Yeah, Stevenson was bad. I was like,
questionable. But
she said I did get kicked out though for gang activity. But yeah, we went to PS18, which was right across, like it was the park we grew up playing in, and then 183 was like, according to some, was like the worst junior high school in the Bronx, and that's where we went.
yeah, it was a rough time.
And
I
then
could tell you. I go ahead. My bad.
Gompers, Gompers was the only school that would accept me. That's how I wound up there. It
Nah.
was either that or Morris.
So like yeah, Morris was horrible. So like one of the I want to say like I could say for the majority like bad time school wise, I never really had issues in Gompers. Like I was already older, so like there was necessarily no backup there. Um, yeah, like 183. I remember like I would walk out and it'd be Eddie and Edwin right there, and you'd be like, and you like, oh god, I'm like I'm about to get jumped. So like you try to go back into school. once you leave, security guard wasn't letting you back in. So it was like I try to sneak by him, whatever. And now I'm sitting here running through Patterson trying to get to the building. Um, there was one I remember like same thing, like I would stop before exiting and I like look and I would see him, then I had to cut through the side that led into like the hand where the handball court was at and
Yeah.
the playground, and I would have to come through there, run down the block, come up and come down by Lincoln. Um yeah, it was crazy. Like I would catch him, like he'd catch me like every now and then. Like I saw him probably like two times legitimately like in school. And it was coming up down the stairs, and he was like, yo, like he stopped, like he didn't do nothing to me, but he was just like, and it's talking about Eddie, but he was just like, yo, like, yeah, your brother ain't here now. Like, what you gonna do if I punch you in the face? I'm like I just looking at him
Tell my brother you.
like, I don't know, like what the fuck, what are we talking about right now? And he's like, yeah, whatever, like it just kept moving. But I mean, all that came back at a later date to bite them in the rear end. So by that point, I was already into stuff, and like they wasn't messing with me.
I
Um,
remember I caught Edwin by himself one day.
Man.
I don't remember where we were, but I remember he was behind me and we got into it, and I mean I beat the brakes off this dude. And oh, he said I'm with him. And but then like they caught Mike coming out of school one day, and so it's like you couldn't do anything, and not because you were afraid to fight or whatever, but they would wait until he was alone, and then they would retaliate and stuff. So it was it was crazy, but like Mike said, like eventually that stuff caught up to them, and but
yeah, sure did, because they used to get jumped on the other side, and yeah, I caught him in Clark, the handball courts. They had the full court that was like right there. As soon as you step out the handball court, you had to
uh,
go around and get the ball, whatever. And at that point, I was already into stuff. So again, like he had bumped me, and I turned around like I didn't know who it was. They were doing the summer tournaments that they do, the basketball tournaments,
uh,
and I turned around and he looked, and he already saw like I was. It was like me, Too Sweet, Joito, a bunch of other dudes from the other side. And he's like, "Oh, pardon me," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's what I thought," and that was that. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was a constant fight. Like I coming out of 18, like dudes from the other side because they went to 18 too. Were like I'm getting chased across 18 with a backpack on, so you running stupid, like looking like that, trying to pull the weight. And
uh,
they were like swinging on me while I'm trying to run away, and I'm like, all for it was all for fun, all for show, just to do something. Like, cause I didn't do nothing to them. I didn't, I don't have conversations with them, so I don't know what you have a problem with me for. Um, so it was never necessarily like a one on one. Um,
yeah. That a lot of times, like I remember when I was in PS18, I don't know, third, fourth grade, and I was coming out of class. Mom picked me up. You were in a stroller. That's how young you were, and mom picked me up, and this boy from my class uh just ran up behind me and punched me dead in my eye. Pow! And then ran off. And I'm like, I remember thinking my mom was like, "What the hell?" And I'm like, I have no idea. Like I hadn't talked to him. I hadn't talked to him all day. Like I don't understand what the problem was, but he ran up to me, snuffed me, and then took off running. And that kind of thing, like that was like back in the day, like being bullied and that kind of thing, like that wasn't even heard of. Like, there was you tell somebody this is going on, and nobody bat an eye. Like there, nobody said anything. So
yeah,
yeah, it was just stuff that until you got old enough to where you start wilding out. There was like this is the kind of situation it was.
All school years, I would say it'd be that Eddie and Edwin beef. Um so for example, all right. So how it started was like I've never seen them before. They came over to the park that we would hang out is, which is like PS 18, and we were playing football. And again, I've never seen them before. And whatever, like the younger one out of all of them was talking smack, and it, when back when you was snapping on each other, ragging on each other, and he says something, and I didn't know how to come back, and I was like, "Your mother." Most people would say that. I mean, again, younger. I was probably like in third grade, fourth grade, something like that. And like at that point, like he started with me, like push me, this and that, you know. He stepped in, and it came out to be like my mom came downstairs, like it is, like it kind of like dispersed, whatever. But from then on, it was an issue. Like I'd come from like junior. This is the entire time. So like I come from junior high. Like I was like in sixth grade. I had to do like one of the homies. We were shooting around, and then Edwin and Eddie. Matter of fact, that specific day, they caught me out there just shooting around, and Edwin Eddie punched me in the chest, and like I looked down, like I didn't like it was like it hit me, and I like looked down, and I like when I looked up, Edwin was already like halfway there, like, and he hit me. So I was like, "Hey, can you?" I was like, I told my friend, I'm like, "Yo, can you grab my basketball real quick? Like I'll be back." And that's when I went upstairs and I told you what happened, and that's when you fought him in that parking lot between the buildings. Like that was Edwin. Like you just went
Mhm.
up and put hands on him. From being in the Saturday school when he had the we had the little 49er football joint,
Yeah,
the little footballs. You fought him there. That's when his sister tried to stop you, and you like pushed it to the side and basically beat him up in the community center. Um, it's been variable things. So you had Eddie, you had Edwin, you had the twins, then you had that dude Chuck. And then what was wild is that when he confronted you, and I remember being there, he was like, "Why you always gotta fight?" He's like, "Nah, you ain't fighting my boys one on one. Like, why you always stepping to him when he's by himself?" I'm like, "Well, that's kind of weird considering like that's what a fight like one on one. Like I have a problem with you, I fight you, you fight me. Like this
that's
is
it.
what we do."
That's the way it goes. Yeah,
But like the twins never messed with me. The only time any of that stuff ever happened is that in the back of the building that one time we was walking by, and they was sitting outside our building, and then they brought us to the back. You remember? They brought us to the back. They put us on our knees at gunpoint, at pew pew point, and
I don't remember.
that's wild. That's wild behavior.
I don't remember.
But yeah, it was right there before the steps. They had a little pit bull with them. Um, Yeah, I mean, those are the things. Like, so again, those are like those were the bullies. They were who they are. They're the antagonist of my youth. But I mean, at the end of the day, like you was still fighting with your own homies. Like, how long? Peanuts the homie. I never had issues with him, but I did fight him. Like, I
I mean,
tried to avoid fighting him. Like,
I think that
I
like
fought him.
I think if you hang with people enough, like eventually,
Get on each other's
and
nerves.
eventually get it. I mean, I mean, Peanut, like I love Peanut to death. Like I mean, he was, but I remember one day I went to beat his ass, like and his mother
Yeah,
stopped.
Maria came out.
Maria came she snatched me quick. It's like whoa, because I was much bigger than Peanut by that time, and but he was just, but we were, you get into scuffles with your friends. That ain't malice. That's just like like how many times did I fight Raw? Like I fought Raw like
Yeah,
two or
and
three
that was so wrong. And we talking about Kevin. That second one was where hit Kevin off of you, or because Kevin pushed you off of when you were on top of Raw, and then Raw ended up on top, and then I pushed Kevin off. I pushed them off, and then Kevin jumped up. It was different. It was different, bro. Like, anyways,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you just get into it. That's just what it was. Like, it was a quick reaction to solve every problem. It was like, all right, bet, like, scrap it out. I mean, you couldn't go through certain, like, how many times we would go through Melrose, coming up Melrose, where we had, I think the pharmacy was over there we used to go for.
Yeah.
Um,
I
and
remember
it
that.
was like, yo, like, if they ask you where you from, just tell them you visiting, stuff like that, because they would jump you just because you was from Patterson.
Yeah.
Um, like, we had situations like that. I mean, bro, like, I couldn't again, I couldn't tell you the amount of violence you just see is just normal at a certain when you live there. That just is what it is. Um, high school,
It is, Corey,
grimy.
it is crazy what your mind blocks out, because there are many times since my brother and I have been adults that I'm looking, like, back when I had a Facebook, and I look, I'm like, why does this person stand out to me? And I'll send a screenshot, and I'm like, yo, bro, like, who, like, do you know who this is? Like, who? And he'd be like, yeah, like, and he had like this whole like recollection that I'm like, I don't remember none of that. I don't remember. I remember there was dude, the last time I did it to him was maybe 3 or 4 years ago. I remember the dude's name. His Facebook picture kept popping up. His name was
You talking
Francis.
about Elliot, Francis?
and
Yeah.
I'm like my mind is telling me I know this person, but I couldn't remember. And he's Mike. I asked him, I was like, do I know this person? And he was like, bruh, like, and he gets annoyed. He's like, how do you not remember this?
Like, what are you talking about right now? Like, what do you mean?
I'm like,
Like,
I
what do
don't.
you? Were you
The dude
not there?
Elliot, the dude Elliot, he was saying, he was like, dude, that dude was in your class. He was like, you should know more than me. Like, he was in your class. And I'm
Facts.
like, I
Facts.
don't remember. I don't remember. There's whole situations that I didn't like. It's a shock to me to hear him say that we were held by gunpoint by one, but I don't remember that at all. Like, I have no
Which
memory
is
of
wild
that.
to me because he was right there, and I'm sitting there crying, and he's just like stone faced, like whatever. I'm like, do you not see this happening? Like, what? Here we go upstairs. We not gonna tell mom. I'm like, I don't know why we're not telling her, but all right.
But
Like,
but again, that's just to tell you what I was going through. Like, that, it was. I mean, there was a point in my life as a teenager that I just I was ready to go. Like, at that point, there was points in my life, and literally, Michael was the reason why I I persevered. And then when I met Tanya, and I fell in love with Amanda, and then I had CJ, and that kind of like pulled me out of that. But yeah, like, I was going through so much as a teenager that I was getting bullied in school. That was like, there was so much that I was going through that, yeah, at a certain point that I was just like, I ran away from home twice. The first time I did, I was only gone like 5 or 6 hours or something like that after school, and then the next time I did it, I think I was gone like a week. We were gone like a week, and I slept in a staircase for a week, and like, yeah, it was going through, like, we'll talk, but
yeah, yeah.
I was going through.
There's to keep in line with said topic. I I avoid these things because certain things bring up emotions for me, right? So,
Understand?
like something like that, like I remember again, even through like how tumultuous it was, is like you literally were all I had. Like, so it was like, oh, okay, well, you're gone. I'm like, you get past a certain time, and it's like, where to do that? Not like I could reach out to your cell phone or nothing like that. So you just be sitting there waiting.
Yeah, there
There's
was.
not much. There's not much you can do.
Yeah, it was a lot. And let me tell you something that we were going through, what we were going through, and not to dive deeper into this part of the conversation, but like once I turned 18, like I was gone. Like I turned 18 January 30th, and I think I don't even think I made it through February, and I was gone. I left, and it always, I always felt bad looking back because I'm like, I left, I left you to deal with a lot that you were dealing with, but I just like I at that point I was just like, I'm 18, like I gotta go, I gotta get out of here, and but it was a lot,
I mean,
man.
when you think about being at that age, I mean, just think about, okay, so you were 18, right? So the age, yes, you were of legal age, but you were just 17 the day before that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you
Yeah.
were still a kid. Just because on that day you turned 18, that this, you know what I'm saying? You still weren't thinking like an adult, like a rational adult. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not that's hard, and people don't understand that. Like, dude, I was just 17 yesterday. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I made that decision. I wasn't even 18 for a full 30 days.
Yeah, but
Yeah, there's a lot.
it is a lot. It is a lot. And now, like, wow, like I can't believe I just heard you say that. Like I really didn't remember that. But it only just it only to me just like, so when I think about, so I said this before and I shared this on my channel before, but when I first went to the psychiatrist, when you finally told me like you need to go see help, and to me that was her saying, even though she never said those words, that was her saying like, you either need to talk to somebody or I gotta go. And so I took it, for what it was, and I went, to get a referral and stuff. And I remember the very first conversation I had with my psychiatrist, and she said, she at this point, like, there was like a whole list, and she was like, you don't understand how strong you are, that you dealt with the things you dealt with from experience, and then dealing with the things that you have mentally, that you're still alive, or and not in jail. She was like, people who've gone through the things that you've gone through and deal with what you deal with, she's like, those people are either rotting in jail somewhere or unalived, and you're not. And I think about, and those, when you hear that, that doesn't uh, that doesn't hold too much weight until, like I said, you look back and you watch a video, and it's like document. So like, not only did I watch a video, but I went on Chat GPT and I'm like, tell me about this area during this time, and it was like listening to him say it. Well, not listening, but reading what he says, from the documented places that he pulled the information, and I'm like, wow, dude, like. And then you hear those words replay in your mind, and it's like, wow, like I did survive. And that's how we started on this, decided to do this collab, is because we were saying to each other, like, dude, like we really survived. You didn't want to use the word survive, but that's literally what it was. Like, we literally survived. And it's amazing that we turned out to be who we turned out to be. I mean, like, you joined the military and never looked back, like you left, and it was like, that's it, I'm gone. And I mean, I had my ups and downs as an adult and stuff, dealing with the things that I was dealing with, but looking at where I am now versus all of that, before, you know I don't know, I'm gonna call it, by the grace of God, whatever you decide to call it. But I'm like, I think about it, and I'm like, wow, like, we could have, like, if we were cynical and like and dark hearted and angry, and like, who would blame us? Like, you would look at where we come from and the things that we do. And it's like, well, how do you blame them for being that way?
Or like the way we always talk about when people have the, oh, well, this is how I was raised, and this is all I know, and this is what I saw, so this is why I became this, and this is why I'm like this now. Um, you guys took it differently. You were like, okay, I don't want to continue living like this. I don't want to be in this life. Like, I don't want to be like this. And you pulled yourselves out of it. And no, not everybody can do that.
I mean, my brother's the reason why I even went to the military. That you went into the Air Force like right out of high school, right?
Yeah, I picked
Yeah,
up my diploma September 11th, and I left 1 October.
I remember like I wasn't doing nothing with my life. I had been sitting on my butt collecting welfare for like 3 years, and it wasn't until one day I was on the 13th floor in my apartment, and I'm listening to people argue. And when I tell you that even 13 flights up, like I can hear them, I don't remember what they're saying now, but I can hear them clearly from the ground floor, from the ground. And I don't know, something in me that day hit and was like, now I'm like seeing everything clearly. And I was like, wow, bro, like this is how we live. Like, and I remember going to visit Mike, which I wasn't allowed to do often, and we were in our bedroom, and he was like, "Yo, at the time he was thinking about joining the Marines," and I remember telling him, I remember thinking, I was like, I can't let my baby brother do something with his life, and then I'm not doing anything. And I didn't want to go to the Army, but I was like, well, I guess this is what I'm gonna do. I tried to go to the Marines, and they weren't having me. Um, and the Army at that time, I don't know if they still do it now, but the Army was willing to take anybody, and I joined the
Look,
Army, and
nowadays, yeah,
Yeah. So you're 40.
everything that's happening nowadays, yeah, absolutely.
yeah, so I left. I was like, and that's what made me join the military, and it was crazy because I thought I was gonna be a a I was gonna make it to 20, and I was in maybe 6 months, but when I realized, all right, this is not where I want to be. This is not for me.
Excuse me.
So, did you guys have any questions?
No, Tori said she felt the same way when she left.
Tori felt the same way. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Literally, that's how I felt. Like, I mean, like I was, I think back and I'm like, damn, I left them there to deal with that, but you know,
Times it. So what was I? I think it was in 8th grade. I was probably in 8th grade when you left. Um, Trying to adapt to that. Um, and I'm not when you moved out. Excuse me, not when you left to the military.
So when Carlos left, you did your whole high school year and Carlos was gone. Your
Yeah,
whole
like eighth in high school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Yeah, I mean it was you know that first year like took some adapting and um it was actually a while before like I had seen him after he initially left. I remember that. Like it was man, it was probably like a month, maybe 2 months till I had seen him again. And I remember you coming to the door, like knock on the door. Um, basically like you were in a better situation to like be around. And you gave me it was a silver cross, like chain, like cross. Um,
I don't
and then
remember that.
yeah, I mean, life has happened, and
A lot has
there's a
happened.
lot of there's a lot of again, we have different sides of the story. As you know, obviously there are certain things in memory that I wouldn't necessarily say are insignificant, but compared to other things that were going on, like sometimes you might need a little trigger to remember that. But yeah, you gave me a chain. Um, And from that point, like I knew where you was at, and like it was cool, like because it was like I felt heavy, like within me, like with that time you was gone, because again there was no like I didn't see you, I didn't know what was going on. It was almost like a runaway again, but for much longer. Um, and then from that point, I started going to Gompers, which was like right across the way from where you was at on Longwood. So it was like come through, hang out, all this stuff. And then you ended up moving to off of Webster.
Hey, Ginger.
Was it a Morrisania? Like the
Yeah. Oh
Morrisania?
shit. Yeah, Marzania. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Look, I thought that place was worse than Patterson. Like
That
I
place
couldn't
probably
even.
was worse than Patterson.
That place is grimy. Like I know I had homies I went to school with that lived there. Like when I would come see you, like I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna go chill the weekend, like whatever. And I see him, yo, what you doing out here? I'm like, oh, like I didn't know you lived there. Like, yeah, what up? And I'd be there and I'm like trying to look. I think we was balling one day. And we was matter of fact, yeah, we was hooping one day at the basketball court. So like your building was here, the basketball court was like right there. Like come out the building, it was like right there, full court. And dude got it, whatever. They got into some argument. Some dude chased them down and he had brass knuckles, hit him, bam, knocked him out. And he was doing the whole Friday, oh, you got knocked, doing that. And I'm like, bruh, like, yeah, yeah, all right, man, we heading out from here. Like we going upstairs. Like there was a bunch of stuff, bro. Like I could sit here and tell you gang of stories. Getting jumped on the other side of Patterson.
Ginger,
So
this
you
is
had
my brother. This is my brother Mike.
I'm sorry, ask your question, Mike.
uh your memories is insane. Remember every bill. No, I'll tell you. What question you asked me? Did you ever remember being angry that he left? Uh I mean, yeah, yeah. I would say probably like about a week. Like, the initial set on, like this dude's just gone. Like he I knew he had to leave. Like I knew for sure he had to leave. Like he was just not like it was just too much bumping heads and me being in the middle of all the drama, right? So aside from outside drama, which is a little bit different from at home. At home, I'm in the middle. Like I have to stop them from being physical. Like get between. And that stuff starts to weigh on you. So like when he left, like I knew he had to leave, but at the same time, like the harsh realities of what are out there, like, if I'm getting jumped or whoever was jumping me or said bullies, like I'm at a point in life like I can't just reach out and be like, yo, these people are doing this, and knowing he was gonna fly downstairs and handle something. So um there was no resentment. It was more like it hurt. But like I said, like after like I saw him again when he came back with the chain, and it wasn't about the chain, but like seeing him after that long, what felt like a very long time, it was like relief. Like I knew he was around. I knew I could reach out to him and see him again because I had no contact with him during that
I
time
think
frame.
I think the first time we saw each other was when we took that portrait of the first portrait that you, me, and mom took. I think that was the first time I saw you after I left. I think I don't know if you remember that portrait. It was for her birthday.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
remember the
know if
portrait.
you did it
I
on her.
remember where we took it at.
Oh,
We took it on the other side of the projects. When you go downstairs, when you would do like their community center, they had we were doing pictures. I remember I had a black white shirt with I had my little hair and I had a half moon, the little Nas half moon joint. You had a little ponytail joint that wasn't like you know, it was a little messy. You used to look like you was still learning how to manage long hair. But yeah, I remember that picture very well. I remember that picture very well.
I don't
Um,
remember where. I don't remember taking that. I mean, I remember like mom had asked me to um to come down to so that we could take this photo, but I remember it being so tense. Like I don't think I don't think mom and I even spoke during that time. And if I remember right, like we took the photo and I left, and didn't even I didn't even hang around. I think I said bye to you, and I left, and
So
that.
was it because you? So when you left, was the reason that you guys didn't see each other? Was it because you just didn't want to come to the house, or you weren't?
No, I wasn't allowed to come to the
Oh,
house.
okay.
There was
I
many
thought it was just you just.
she there were many times that I had come to like Jujo's or around, and I wasn't allowed to go upstairs. Like she didn't want me around if she wasn't around. So like I couldn't see Mike if I was so like if she wasn't home, I wasn't allowed to go upstairs. And there were plenty of times that I was in Jujo's, which was literally on the first floor of the building we grew up in. And there were many times that um I want to say I would call upstairs. I don't know how I would tell my brother that I was there, but um and she wasn't allowing him to come down, to the point that at one point she came to Juju's house while I was there and was telling him in front of me that um that that she didn't want him to go the same route that I was going. And
So that's why she wasn't allowing
and
you to
yeah,
see
so
him.
I wasn't allowed to see him for a while. So, and I don't even know how at some point he was able to stay the weekend with me at my place. But yeah, I eventually he was able to come see me where I was at, and he would stay the weekend and stuff like that.
so the first time you came was the time you knocked on the door, because that was the first time I had seen you since you had
Uh,
left, and it was when you had left and you were with Tanya and y'all went through like the shelter and whatnot. Um, being able to go to your crib, you talking about in Morrisania, like those projects over there.
yeah,
That was literally, that was just to ask, because I remember one time I brought Isaiah with me. Um, None. I'd just be like, I would go downstairs and be like, yo, I'd just be like, yo, Jujo, can I can I borrow your bike? And he'd be like, yeah. I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna go to here. And he's like, yeah, whatever. He's like, yo, you gotta, because he was the first person I knew. He like, hey, you get it flat, you bought it. I'm like, what? It's like you, I let you drive my car. If you wreck it, it's yours. You bought it. Like it is what it is. And I would ride over there, put the bike up, and then just chill for the weekend. Like I just asked, and she was like, okay. Like she didn't, like it was not an argument or like it was no back and forth like convincing. I was just like, can I spend the weekend there? She was like, okay. Make sure you behaving and this and that, normal mom stuff. And I was like, all right, yeah. From there it wasn't an issue. Like it was no problems. And I would do it like damn near every weekend. If I wasn't, going to Harlem.
right.
And then yeah, that wasn't a problem. Again, hanging out, going downstairs at Jujo's and chilling. I mean, there were many. Again, there was a lot of things from that time frame that happened that, you know, it just was what it was. Like I'm getting older. I'm getting a little more rowdy. I was always good in school. I didn't start problems, but I'll provoke it. Like if you did something, like I would do something. I mean, mind you, I joined gang gang. And at that point it was just like everyday stuff. I Majority of the times I kicked it with Joito. Um like we was inseparable, so we were
Yeah,
just
you guys were.
chilling, getting it in, doing what we do, how we were. And it was weird because it's like kids not, I can't say all kids, but like it was unfathomable then that, you know, 6, 7 people were sitting here traveling around the cities. Moms didn't even know you was in 2 different boroughs today. You're like, oh, we went to Manhattan. Round matter of fact, we went to go play ball around Metropolitan Hospital over the
Damn,
Spanish Harlem. We
that's
went out
crazy.
there to play ball. It was off like 96th Street, I think. Um, go ahead up Brooklyn. I remember the first time I went to Brooklyn Dolo, bro. You know the little string backpacks? There you go, Tori. You might like this one. I got the little, you had the little Nike string backpacks.
Yeah.
I had one that had a red that was all red bandana design, right? So I'm walking, I think it's like Avenue M or something like that. And I'm walking up, and as I'm walking up the street, it's like the gate to like the basketball courts. And there was no entrance on this side, but on the opposite side, there was like an entrance and exit. And I'm walking up and dudes yelling whatever. And I'm like talking rowdy back. I'm like, yeah, blah, blah. And he's like, next thing you know, like he start running towards that entrance to come around. It's like he comes like to come around. And I'm like, boom. I was already at the corner. So I was like, yeah, whatever. And I hit the corner, bro. Ran right to the train station. Went right back to the Bronx. I was like, nope. I don't know. I mean, I had it for school. Like I came right after school. I didn't think about changing nothing. I was just like, go up here.
I never wore a red one, but I always had a yellow bandana. I had a vest. I had a vest, and the inside of the vest was yellow, and I always wore a yellow bandana when I was in high school with the vest, and I always got told like, stop wearing that, stop wearing that. And I'm like, fuck them. I ain't scared. And one day I got rolled up on. I was like, oh, this is why I shouldn't wear
What you talking about? A Van Cortlandt?
Van Cortlandt. No, Van Cort.
I
No,
remember that problem.
Van. I don't. That problem wasn't even mine. So I don't even remember this dude. Like this dude who I barely knew. Like I don't even think. I don't know why it convinced me to go with him, but this dude was cutting school and he was like, and I was cutting school and he was like, yo, let's go up here. And I had never been there. So I was like, all right, bet, let's go. And then while we were there,
Red flag one. Like what?
while we were
The
there,
biggest red flag.
while we were there, like some dudes that he knew or had problems with started a fight and he took off running. So like we're fighting and he takes off running.
So now you're fighting.
So now I'm fighting. So now I take off running and I'm literally like trying to kung fu my way out of here. So like I'm running, right? I'm running and I've never been that fast. And I've never been a fast individual. But I'm running and every 10 steps, I'm like stopping fighting, boom, boom, boom. And then I take off running again. And eventually
I can imagine that shit. It's like running in quicksand, like
Like, what are you
throw a
doing?
blow.
yeah,
hands moving quick as hell.
I'm running, so right, you're like ha, ha, ha. And I'm not that fast. Like I've never been that fast. So they're gaining on me. So I would start and like throw a punch or whatever, try to get enough. And then they finally caught me and beat my ass in the park. And I don't even remember again, I don't even remember why that happened. But I remember that I saw that dude again and I whipped his ass. But I was like, I don't know why that happened. I was just there. But yeah, that was the only time I ever went to Van. I never went to Van Cortlandt again.
Never go hang out with somebody you don't know.
I can't even say like there's places. No, I'm lying. Ooh, man. So 241st in Wakefield, like the last stop on the 2 train.
I ain't never been up there.
Oh, I only went there once. I never go back there again, right? So all right, so I'm over here. I'm hanging with Too Sweet, which is wild, right? Too Sweet, that's his name. You'd be
I
like, oh,
remember
it's
the
a
name. I don't
nickname.
remember the person.
That's a nickname. He lived on the second floor. He lived on two. What we lived on G. He lived in F, 2F. Anyways, uh, man, he's like, I remember the day I found out that that was his actual name. Like his license was on the table. Like he had a pan. He had like a baking pan of,
Uh-huh.
and I'm like, and his license was there. So I look at it. I'm like, bro, that's your real name. He like, what do you mean? I'm like, who the hell names that kid Too Sweet? Like, what do you mean? He's like, oh yeah, that's my name. So he's like, yo, let's roll up to let's take a trip. Me, him, Joey, and I think like two other dudes. And we went up there. And this is supposed to be like heaven for like, what we were claiming at that time. Like this is everyone is like the headquarters of what it is. And I'm like, I see the spray painting on the ground, the bandanas hanging from street signs. I'm like, bro, what is this? Like you would have thought we was in Compton. I'm like, this is real stuff. Bro, they're like chase this dude down. Hey, do this, do that. I'm like, bro, like I ain't trying to get beat up. Like y'all sitting here, like they really put you in situations that be like, hey, yo, go smack this dude. I'm like, for what? They're like, what you mean for what? You smack him? I'm like, what? Like, bro, y'all are bugging. But it always ended up being situations like that, man. Like they'll sit there, dude. I remember I know you if you saw him, you would know this dude named Jimmy Jack, or they call him Jimmy Jack. This dude named Jimito, black dude, short, but he was Hispanic.
I remember
And
I remember the name Jamito, but I don't
so we was in the elevator. Him and I are like the same thing, like,
got it.
and we're going up. He's like, yo, and he's with another dude. And he's like, yo, what up, man? Da da da. We doing all this. And he's like, all right, bro, I'll holler at you. So he gets out like the ninth floor. I'm going up 13th. And the dude stayed in there. And I'm like, so this dude tells me he's the opposite of what I am. I'm like, so you just set me up like this? Like, he like, yo, don't worry, little dude, I ain't gonna do nothing to you, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, bro, like, what kind of situations y'all putting me in? Like, they'll be like, yo, like, let's me and you hang out in the middle of Mott Haven, like the PJs. And I'm like, for what? Like, you already know, like, that's the. I'm not gonna tell you again before I stand up. So that's the opposite of what we are. So you
Right.
telling me two people, us two idiots, want to sit right there in the middle of the projects and you want to wear all this stuff? Like, absolutely not. Mm-mm. Like, that's the type of stuff they'll be like, I don't care. They'd rather have a name and get unalived than than to just mind your business. Like, it was just weird.
Then just mind your
Nah, that was Blizz. Blizz likes to speak up, but he's very timid. Like he'll be like, "Oh, smell you," and if you go to touch him, he'd be like, "Oh, don't touch me."
You didn't even taste the other ones. They were actually good.
They were bricks.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, like I said, it was this all came about because like I saw that and I'm listening to like what this guy's saying that this area was like, and I'm like, wow, like I knew it was bad. I didn't realize how bad it was. And like I said, when you're growing up, this is this is life. And now sometimes I look back on it and it's like a story I heard or like it happened to somebody else. And you know, I remember telling people, like I would tell they'd be like, I'm like, oh, and they were like, what? And I'm like, yeah, like, and they're like, dude, like, you lived there, like you grew
It's
up
not
there,
it's not normal.
and I'm like, yeah, and they're like, dude, that's not normal, and I'm like, no, it was for me, like it was, that was
Like
life.
this. When you walk from 3rd Ave to 145th, that strip.
Uh-huh.
And when you can get into a legitimate what people would consider a justified fight just because you looked at each other and be like, yo, what you looking at? What you looking at? Yo, what's up? What's up? Now you fighting because you're like, I don't know why he was looking at me. I didn't have a problem, but clearly he got a problem. Y'all thinking the same thing. You're like, I don't know why we're fighting, but he said what's up, and I said what's up. Right? It, the randomness of violence or like the thought process behind why you're doing these things was never necessarily justified. It was just for funsies, damn near. Like everything seemed just for fun. Why would you chase an 11-year-old wearing a backpack, not doing anything to you, and you're sitting here jumping him for what? This guy has no interaction, so clearly it's just for fun to show somebody you can do that, or there's nothing better to do. We were just waiting for the right person to
Yeah.
come outside so we can do that. Like,
And, yeah. No, I'm good. But yeah, I agree. It was like that in school. Like I dealt with that in school, and like I remember sitting there one day, and somebody threw. I don't know what it. I don't remember what it was, but somebody threw like a whole tray of food, and I just happened to be the one it hit, and so now of course, I'm upset and whatever, and I remember. So now I'm talking smack because like now you can't you lived in an area where you can't just not say anything because then now you a punk and they gonna keep doing it. So I remember you remember those lunch tables that I call them like the suicide tables because you had to like you had to like climb into it. The
yeah,
white tables that fold up
yeah,
like
yeah,
this.
they fold in half. Yeah.
And so I'm mad, I'm talking smack and whatever. And one of them came and sat down, like straddled the bench and sat down beside me. So I shifted and now we're going back and forth and whatever. And I remember everybody that I was sitting by like got up and left. And as they left, like some other people had came down and
This is
sat
in
down.
Gompers?
This was in Gompers. And
Mm.
so what happened was, so this particular time, what happened was I was sitting on the edge and these guys used to snatch chocolate milk. Right. And so I was defiant. I'm like, ain't nobody stealing my chocolate milk. And I opened my
He
milk.
like, you can't have my cornbread.
I'm like, you can't have my chocolate milk. So he walked by and he snatched my chocolate milk and kept on walking. So I got up and I flung him around by his arm and I snatched my chocolate milk and I sat down and I took a sip or whatever. So, like I said, he came and sat down by the table. He straddled the table, and then all my friends got up and left. And there was a bunch of them that came, like 4 or 5 of them that came and sat down around me at the table. And I remember, I'm talking smack. I'm like, whatever, whatever. And I went to get up, like, because I knew we were getting ready to fight. I went to get up, and as soon as my ass lifted off the table, bloop, bloop, I got hit by like 4 people at one time. And I remember just getting slumped over. I was like, well, I was like,
I can't say I've ever been slumped, but
but I
hey,
mean,
it happens.
I wound up fighting them. Well, I wound up catching them. Me and Al, remember Al? Remember
Al
Al?
Boogie.
Al Boogie, yeah. Me and Al caught like 3 of them by ourselves. We caught them by ourselves, but they were like, I remember one of them came up to me. He's like, bro, like respect. Like he's like, you were willing to do all that for chocolate milk. He's like, I'm not messing with you anymore.
You're like, I didn't know the chocolate milk was that serious.
I was like, bro, it's like it wasn't the point of the chocolate milk. It was the
The principle.
the principle behind it. It's like you ain't gonna just steal my shit. Like my mom
Bruh.
pays for this shit.
I remember sitting in the cafeteria there and they was throwing M&M peanuts, bro. I don't even know how like they threw an M&M peanut and shit caught me like right here. Cracked on my face. You know how hard an M&M peanut is? You know, obviously melts in your mouth, not in your hand, so it's durable. It cracked on my cheekbone. I was like, damn. And I jumped up, and you know how frustrating it is. You want to blame somebody, but you don't know who to blame. I'm like, bro. But I remember, we was chilling on Southern Boulevard, waiting for the bus, like coming up Trinity, like come
Yeah.
out to school and then go to the bus. And me and Joito throwing the ball back and forth. Ain't bothering nobody. I was like, yo, how you throw that? Like he threw a pitch, and I'm like, bro, how do you throw that? And he's like, oh, like you come out. So I went to do it, and the ball flew straight across the street. No one was in the way. Bro, I get on the bus. Dude was like, yo, so and so. Oh, what he said? He was like, before I even got on the bus, he's like, yo, if that shit would have hit me, like, it would have been a problem. I'm like, you're standing in front of me. How would it have hit you if it went that way? He's like, I'm just saying, if it would have hit me, it would have been a problem. I'm like, yeah, whatever, bro. I get on the bus, pay my fare, everything. And Joey's like, yo, dude said he want to fight. So I just walk right out the bus. We fight. And there's a Latin King dude. Bro, you talking about I worked his ass, bro. He came in next day, and he was a Hispanic dude, but he was like, he's fair complected. And so he had like the knots and whatnot. He's like, yeah, you got me. Yeah, you got me. Like me and St. Mary's after work, like me and my boys gonna jump me. I'm like, you're telling me to meet you at a spot so you could jump me, and you think I'm just gonna go. Like, how crazy are you, bro? Plus, I was on the baseball team, so I walked around with a bat in every class anyways. 'Cause I brought my baseball bag. So it was just, bro,
It was
that I caught stitches in my head in the locker room from when
Mike.
dude three.
Somebody was throwing M&Ms at Mike,
Oh yeah, they cracked the M&M across my cheekbone and shattered
and that
the
was some
M&M,
damn
that is, so it
milk.
really hurt.
You
I
gotta
remember
understand this.
jumping up real quick, and there was spilt chocolate milk on the floor, and I slipped, hit my head on the side of the table.
You gotta
Bro,
understand, chocolate milk. Like this was food back in the '90s, man. Like chocolate milk was like the epitome. Like that was like the best you can get, bro.
that and them pizzas
And right, and
with the round
with the,
front, and
with
it
the
came down like a boat.
like, this was, and then like I said, I don't know about you. I'm sure you did too, but my mom had to pay for that. Like we used to
Yeah,
get,
you had to pay for it.
what are the like lunch book tickets or something?
Yeah, you used to get like a book full of tickets that was like perforated, so like you would have to like peel one off and give it in, and then either if you got it for free, you got it for free, and if not, you'd have to pay like 50 cents or something like that for
I
like
guess mom
whatever.
made too much money. By this time, she was already working where she was. I had to pay a quarter with every time, and mom was broke, so not every time I had a quarter. And so this particular day, I did, and dude
This
just
nigga was
walked
like,
by and snatched my mouth. Like, nah, bro, like that. This ain't finna happen. Like, you ain't taking my
yeah, like I
chocolate.
said, that story reminds me of the movie Life, bro. When Eddie when they
Yeah,
took Martin Lawrence's cornbread, he like, you can't have my cornbread. Nah, not mine. We yeah, that's
yeah.
what
I
it
was like,
sounded like.
nah, bro, you ain't taking my chocolate milk. Like, and the dude, you should have seen the dude look at me when I snatched my chocolate milk. Like, he was like, this dude, like, and literally, like a week and a half later, he came up. He was like, bro, like, you really did all that for some chocolate milk? Like, he's like, respect, dude. Like, I got it. Like, don't. He's like, I ain't messing with you no more. Like, I was like, nah, it ain't about the chocolate milk, about the principle. Like, that was my chocolate milk, man. Like, and
Yeah, high school they didn't. High school nobody messed with me. Like they try, like mainly like Dominican cats. They were all hung together, but like they never did anything. And it's weird because like when I left, all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, you was popular. I'm like, I didn't feel popular. Like the amount of randomness I had going on, like no one. Oh yeah, everybody they all asking about you. I'm like, whatever. I was known for baseball. That was about it. Like people didn't. I got into two fights there.
I remember, like, I had went there. I was enrolled there 4 years, and even on my fourth year, I had like enough credits. I didn't even have enough credits to fill up 1 year worth of school. Like I had stopped going. Like I think I stopped going by the middle of my sophomore year. I started cutting school, and And
Yeah, and they used to send the little postcards home
yeah,
with the days you was missing. Them shits were always magnet on the front door. Mom would put them on a magnet on the front door. It'd be like 9 9/23, September 23. It'd be like 9/24, 9/25. I'd be like, Jesus, bro. He'd be like, yo, like the hot thing was getting the key to the mailbox so you could take them out, so you could
oh
take them
yeah.
out before.
I remember she's like, I'm gonna trust you with a key to the mailbox. And I was like, lady, I'm taking every one of these are coming out of the damn thing. I remember you were in junior high school, and I remember one of your teachers calling the house before we left to school. It was like 7:45 in the morning, and they called to talk to mom about you. And I picked up the phone, and he thought I was mom, or he thought I was the parent. Yeah, he thought I was the parent. Was telling me how you were acting up in class and stuff. I was like, all right, I'll take care of him. And I was like, click. All right, bro. Have a good day at school. Oh man, it was yeah.
He was wild as that. Like I got in trouble. Um, but what I like once I got to high school, like again, like I was known, but like I was on a baseball team, you had to maintain like good grades to stay on it. And I was on it through like all through senior year. Like I've always passed every class in high school. Like I never failed the class in high school. And Fig. If you remember
I remember
Fig, you
Big,
remember
yeah.
Figueroa.
I
He
remember
was
Big.
always he was always on me. So it was wild because of the riff. My senior year that mom and I had when you were in Korea, when you came back, she got me pulled off the baseball team. So I was going to practice, and we just was about to play our next game, which would have been our first game in the playoffs. And I went, and Fig was like, "Hey man, I can't let you play." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Dude, yeah, man, you're not on the team right now." I'm like, "Dude, I'm passing every class." And then he's like, "Your mom called. She didn't want you playing." I'm like, cool. So that's when I left. When you were like, "Oh yeah, I'm come back. I expect to see you." And I'm like, "No, I'm good, bro." Like if you come in, I mean, aside for the reason I initially left,
Mm,
um, that was another thing. Like I didn't want to do at that point. Mom, like none of, and again, I mean, look, I ain't sitting here making excuses. We all have generational things. I could say that overall, how we grew up, obviously, with anyone, how you grow up is are the things that mold you, and then you know beyond that is how you decide to shape that. Like this is
right.
this is that. I don't do this, I won't do that. So I mean, I could say I grew up tough, not necessarily wanting to engage in hostility, so to speak, but it's very much there and alive. Like it doesn't take much. Excuse me. It doesn't take anything. Like if I decided that that's the route I wanted to go. Um, a lot of people, to include yourself, will be like, or feel like, or have mentioned to me about compartmentalizing, and I could see how that's the assumption, but that's not always the case. Like it's just more so what's worth my time. Like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, let's argue about this. Like it is what it is. Like I just don't care. Like I genuinely don't care. I can move on fine without thinking another thought about it. Like I'll be all right. What's more important to me is focusing on what's important than to dwell about other things, and that's a difference between people.
Yeah, I think that for some people, for some of us, um, it's about wanting someone to take accountability. Um, and I think that that's the biggest problem is that some people just don't like to take accountability for their own actions. And we, like you said, we all have our own generational shit that we carry. Uh, and because we have because we've been through certain things doesn't give us that's not an excuse for us to not say, not take accountability for the things or the mistakes that we've made. I was a teen mom and I made a lot of mistakes. One of the things that I've tried to do throughout the years, especially now that my kids are older, is every chance that I get is, remind them and take accountability for the things that I feel I should have done that I didn't do, or, the things that I should have done better. But at the time, obviously I knew what I knew and I didn't know what I didn't know. Now I can look back and say, yeah, I know more. So now I can take accountability for those things and be like, you know what? I should have done better in this aspect. I should have done this. So I think that that's what's important is it's not so much of pointing fingers or, trying to like hold on to anything. It's just being accountable for your own actions. When does that happen?
Mhm.
For some people it just seems like that's not an option. It's just not.
I don't know. I mean, I can't say we're all different. Obviously, I mean, I'm not saying anything that you don't know. Um, I couldn't necessarily say. The only thing I could say, as far as I'm concerned, with my personal um journey through life, is that when certain things come up, there are emotions attached to it. Like, I could sit here and say that this made me feel this way or that made me feel this way, and that's family in general, not a specific person.
Right.
Um, However, again, for me, just me, I speak for myself, anyways. But it's not to say that I don't care, but at the same time, I don't care. Like, I'm moving forward. Like, whatever that is the furthest thing from my thought at the moment, because I'm more concerned with moving forward in life than anything else. And would it be nice? Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt about it, to hear those things, but until then, I mean, I won't remain stagnant. I'm gonna, try
Oh,
to be as
absolutely.
fruitful as possible.
Absolutely. Like Tori said, protect your peace at all costs. Absolutely. But again, that doesn't take from the fact that you're not going to hold yourself accountable, but I am. That's how I look at things. You don't have to hold yourself accountable, and that's fine. You know that you are who you are. But I'm going to hold you accountable.
That I think that you got to that point a lot faster than I did. And that was something that I had to struggle with and learn
Mhm.
um to get to that point. And now that I'm finally there, and you know I feel the same way. It's like, what, at this point, like, I don't really care. Like, I don't it's not a focus anymore mine, and stuff. So, I had, somebody asked me, like, if you could trade places or with anybody in the world, like, would you do it? Or, would you, do things over? And and today, I don't know how I would respond 5 years ago, 10 years ago, but today, like, I can say, I worked hard to get to who I am today. You know what I mean? Like, I worked my ass off, and it took a lot of self reflection. It took a lot of pain and resentment, but it also took a lot of, like, forgiving myself, and just, not blaming myself for who I was while I was, while I was hurting, while I was, going through the things that I was going through. So, but I mean, I'm at that point too, where it's like, you know what, at this point, I can only worry about myself, and I can only control, my actions and my responses to, things that have been done to me, and just move forward from there. So, um, I think that's, I don't think, but that's where I am now. But like I said, that goes to show that, despite everything that we gone through, and the stuff that we saw, the things that, I put you through, the things that, we dealt with at home, in our environment, and then the fact that we are here where we are now, that we're the type of people that we are now, and of having accomplished everything that we've accomplished. And like I've told you before, yeah, like, you're my hero. Like, you've been serving this country, almost 25 years. Like, that says a lot. That does a lot. And like I said, to be where we are and be the people that we are, despite everything that we've gone through and seen and experienced, like, that's just, it's a blessing. It's amazing. Whatever it is that you believe in, you know it's a blessing, because like I said, I don't think anybody can blame us if we weren't like this, looking back at what we went through and be like, oh damn, I understand why they are the way they are. But we're not. you know we're not. There's so many things. What's up, Stan? Yep, everybody's got a destiny. There's so many things that we that that we could have been. There's so many things worse than we could have been than who we are. And I think that says a lot about who we are as people, and who we are as individuals, and who we are as men. You know, so we made it out. Like, you said that, like, damn, we made it out of that. Like, we made it out. We went through, and it's one of the reasons why I think that we're so close now, is because, like you said earlier, like, all we had was each other. Like, we grew up as latchkey kids. There was nobody home for us when we came home. We were alone by ourselves. The majority of our childhood, by no, not pointing fault, because it was
I mean, she
supervision,
had to work,
right?
so
Somebody had to work, but we were all we had.
I
And
mean, my kids went through it too.
I think that we,
Somebody had to pay the bills.
we got each other through some of the worst things that we've ever gone through. um you know and how we turned out is, I think, pretty damn good. So
I will say, I would have to agree.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I think if you reflect on, like, if you could sit here and put a timeline on it, and remember key things that happened, what was happening during this time on that timeline, and you would realize a lot more things would potentially come to mind. Um, and you'd be like, damn, like, okay, like, I remember that. Yeah, that was a tough time. Um, it- I think that anyone growing up, and I would say the same for maybe other cities as well. They're like, I could be like, yeah, like, that's a rough city. Like, people, I imagine people had it tough, this and that. I don't know what other people have dealt with. I feel like we had to grow up quick. Um, like, I remember having a key to the house at 7 years old. Like, who's gonna sit there and put the responsibility on a kid to be like, when you get home, you go straight home. You go home, you unlock the door, you lock the door. Like, I'm not sitting here looking at any 7 year old to be like, hey, go to the house, and I know I can trust you to lock up. Like, I'll be sitting here like, did he lock the door? Like, is the door locked? Is I'm gonna come home and somebody raided my ish? Things like that. Like, hey, you get the phone call from mom at work, like, hey, meet me on 59th Street in Madison. And you're like, how I'm supposed to get there. You know what I mean? Like I remember that. Like you look at the train route. Da, 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 you take this train. You get in the train. You look at the map. You're
Sit,
at this street. You gotta look up this. Count how many stops until this.
sit in
Blah
the
blah
car
blah.
with
What
the
stop is
conductor.
before that? And then I would sit here, and then you'd walk down. I get to that, and I'm like, I'm on 59th. I'm not on the right street. So you walk down the opposite way, and you be like, well, it's not getting. It's not. The numbers are ascending. Let me turn around. Let me walk the opposite way, and you get to the building. Now I gotta find the building on there. Building 607, and I'm like, that's six. How did I jump from 603 to 609? Like, and then you looking like, is it across the street? You cross the street. So it was just like you was expected to do certain things and be certain places, and it's like I tell Jada and Jocelyn or that now, and I'm like, they be like, where's that at? I'm like, well, figure it out. Get to 59th and then go. What do you mean? Walk up. What if I walk the wrong way? Then walk the opposite way. What are you
Walk
talking
until you
about?
figure it out.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's like you was expected to be where you needed to be. Bro, you know what? To run that back, the other side was an issue for me. Going to the other side of Patterson was an issue for me. Because I always had problems until I was like high school. When mom and I had to walk by that building by Patterson Square Garden, the square, the basketball court,
Yeah,
and oh
Wait,
boy, you used to hang out in the front.
Square Garden?
yeah, that's what it was. That's what it was
We used to
called.
call it Patterson.
Square
So
Garden.
it was just a full court and that was enclosed, and it was a square. They just call it the square, even though it was a rectangle. It was a square. So we lived in Patterson. They called it Patterson Square Garden.
PS
Wow.
18 was Candlestick.
Wow.
IS 183 was Lambeau Field, and
What
then
the fuck?
Patterson Square Garden.
Patterson Square Garden.
Yep. So when it was time to do groceries, it was Weston Beef, and those old carts that fold up. You remember that? Like with
Yeah.
your little grocery cart, you would hook onto the front, and then you take it out. You put all your bags in and push it.
Yeah.
I had to. Here I am, walking across. I might as well have been walking across Iraq and IED field because I'm like, oh God, like, let me take the long. What took you so long? I'm trying to avoid these people that I just saw that I knew was gonna jump me if I, bro. Mom, they ain't saying nothing to mom. Mom walked through the middle of that. Yeah, hurry up. And I'm like looking left, right, like, oh God, like please don't jump me in front of my mom. Like, because these dudes don't care. They're kids. They be like, whatever. Like they call her names or whatever. Like I'm sitting here like trying to avoid this drama, and you sitting here because I was 3 minutes late, and you called me 27 minutes ago, and you was like, I'll be there in 25, and I'm like, I'm sorry, like
I'm here.
yeah, like I'm sitting here like I remember one day you and me went. And you got mad. You was like, "I'm done." Like you walked off and left the damn shopping cart, and I had to pull that shit. This motherfucker. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me. We was damn near about to cross the street to outside to Patterson Square Garden. How I went up, you would come around, and then you would go up. Boom, the street's there. You cross the street, and then we were there. We was damn near at this turn, and like they was arguing about something. Again, I'm just here as normal in the middle. And he was like, whatever then. And he walked off, let the cart stop, left the cart, all the groceries there. And now I had to pull it. And then the elevator didn't work. Bro, I'm sitting here yanking a shopping cart up 13 steps.
Oh, you
And
had to
it
do
ain't
that too.
13 steps. It ain't 13 steps. It's 26 because, there's two
It's
to the
two of them,
landing.
right? She did that to me too. I'm telling you, she was like,
How you gonna say she did that to him and he was the one that did it? What do you mean? What you talk about?
She
She had you pull it up?
I had to carry that shit up one day.
Oh, you deserved it then for leaving me like that. This one. What?
She looked at me. She was like, "You weren't even there. I don't even think you were there. I think you were in Manhattan for the weekend. I remember she looked at me and she was like, "You want to eat, right?" She's like,
I
she was like,
mean,
she's like she's like, that's got to go upstairs. I was like, "Damn,
at
suck
least
boy."
at least the way you just phrased it right now sounded nice versus you just walking off and she looked at me like, I'm like, oh, this me? This me now? Like, he's bigger than me. And, all right. Pull it off. I'm like, oh man. I remember that. You're saying this is oh, it's about time you got here. I'm like, I know what? What? While you sit here, take step by step, I'm like yanking one step at a time. Oh, it was rough. I remember that. I remember Western beef so vividly. I hated going to Western beef. I swear I hated going to Western beef. It was like, can we take a cab or something?
I didn't do it to him specifically. Like,
You abandoned him.
He like, yo, this is not because of you. I don't want it to be your problem, but I mean, residual, like, you got this. Yo, be strong, my brother, and kept moving. They're like, oh, all right. Disregard. You got this. Like, what?
He just got residual again. He just popped his head on the window.
There you go. Toma.
Paybacks.
yo,
Bruh.
we were at it. We were at it like every day. We were at it like every day. I don't think there was a
This
day.
is around the time, yeah, you end up leaving. They're like, look, but like this, you end up leaving again. I was in 8th grade. I remember because it happened, and I remember my first class of the day. I think I had what the hell is that chick's name? God damn, it was stupid chorus. Yeah, it was like
My
chorus, and
rescue.
I'm fuck that hoe. I took her twice. I had to take her for 9th period. My senior year, passing every single class, I had to take 0 through 9th period, and then turn around and go to Roosevelt and take a lab and then another period. And mind you, I had more than enough credits to pass. They just weren't the right credits. I remember because mom came in, she's like, "Oh yeah, they need 45 credits to pass." He's like, "How many does he have?" He's like, 47. He's like, "I don't. What? That doesn't make sense." He's like, "Well, he still owes this math class." And I had to take summer school, bro. Why you think I picked up my diploma on September on 9/11? On literal 9/11, I picked up my diploma. I was standing at the bus stop. They was like, "Hey, did you hear what happened?" I'm like, "Well, what?" I didn't have a cell phone, nothing hit me up the alert. It was like the World Trade Center got hit. And I'm like, oh man, I was just about to get zooted. I was like, damn it. Now I gotta ask. Now I gotta find out if mom's okay.
That was a scary day for me. I was already in Korea. I had been in Korea 2 weeks when that happened. I got to Korea August 21st, 2001, and then 9/11 happened 2 weeks later. And I remember I got a phone call from, you told me not to call her that anymore, but I got a phone call from her and she was like, she was so frantic. And I had to literally tell her to tell me in Spanish because she was so, and she told me, I was like, what? And she's like, turn on the damn TV. And I turned on the TV. Now, mind you, at 8 o'clock the next morning, like, so this is 3 o'clock in the morning. So this has already happened in New York. Like, I'm already on the next day in Korea. So this had already happened. So it was like 3 o'clock in the afternoon by the time I found out. So of course I'm finding out. I'm looking on the TV and the alerts go off. And so now, and I was on the QRF, which, if I remember right,
Quick reaction force.
quick reaction force. So like I had to, like I had a post that I needed to guard. Like that was my responsibility. So I had to go grab my weapon and whatever. But at this time, like I was crying. I was hysterical. Like I showed you where my mom worked, and the Twin Towers were literally like a spit
It
throw
was like
away.
not too long, yeah, like not far at all.
So I was terrified, and I remember my my NCO, my first line supervisor, and her name was Wendy too. So she was like, this is Wendy talking to Carlos. She was like, just focus on me. She was like, have you heard? Is your mom okay? Like, who was it? And and they had to send me back to the room because I was like, I ain't guarding shit right now. And
y'all gonna need to guard me.
yeah, so that was a scary day. So it was yeah, Stan, it was a lot, man, what we went through. So like I said, we wanted to share this because we wanted to share, like, what going through what we went through, what it does to people, the perspective, the experience, and and why thought processes are the way they are, and stuff like that. So but like I said, we're gonna hop off here now because we've been on 2 hours. But like I said, I wanted to bring my brother on, because like I said, man, we shared this experience together, and we're at least for me, I'd say that he's literally the reason why I made the positive choice, and kept and stuck myself around, because like I said, I was such in a bad place that if something happened to me, I wouldn't have been, it would have I would have been nonchalant about it because of what I was going through. So I just want to say thank you to my brother, and like I said, he is a master sergeant in the United States Air Force, 25-year veteran. He's been deployed like more times than I can count, and he's my hero. Like he's done some great things for himself, his family, and our country. So, bro, thanks for coming on with me and sharing this experience. And we got to do it again, bro.
Yes, sir.
I love you. I'll holla at
Love
you
you
later.
too. All right, bro.
Good
One.
night.
One.